share the room with the Hangout screen. Wait a minute. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 30. These be the words, which is where we are today, but it's part of our weekly meeting. And it's no accident that is the case. But Deuteronomy chapter 30 from verses 1 to 10. Deuteronomy chapter 30 from verses 1 to 10. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy Elohim hath driven thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahweh thy Elohim have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy father, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law. And if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul. That is Deuteronomy chapter 30. These be the words from verses 1 to 10. Now we turn to the prophet Isaiah, otherwise known as Yeshaya. Isaiah chapter 58. Isaiah 58, verses 12 through 14. Isaiah chapter 58, verses 12 through 14. And the prophecy reads, And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own will, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh. And I will cause thee to rise upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Yaakov thy father. For the mouth of Yahweh hath spoken. That was Isaiah chapter 58, verses 12 through 14. Now we turn to the New Testament, the book of Acts. In the New Testament, Acts chapter 13. Acts chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. Acts chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. And this epistle reads, Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sin. And by him all that believe are justified from all things from which ye could not be justified by the law of Moses. Beware, therefore, lest that come upon you which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers, and wonder and perish. For I work a work in your day, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. Now, when the congregation was broken up, and when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Yahweh. And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of Yahweh. That was Acts chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. Now we turn to the epistle that was addressed to the Hebrews. The epistle addressed to the Hebrews chapter 8, from verses 6 through 12. Epistle addressed to the Hebrews chapter 8, from verses 6 through 12. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws into their mind, and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh. For all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. That was Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. Now we turn to the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yahweh, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of water. Verse 14. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. That was Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. Now we turn to Revelation chapter 11, and we're reading the seventh trumpet of Revelation chapter 11, which is Revelation chapter 11, from verses 15 to 19. Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. And the prophecy reads, And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Adonai and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Yahweh on their seats, fell upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, We give thee thanks, O Yahweh Al Shaddai, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. That was Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. Revelation chapter 11, that was, verses 15 to 19. Now, last but not least of our morning's readings, back to the prophet Isaiah, otherwise known as Yeshaya. Isaiah chapter 66. Isaiah 66, verses 22 to 24. Isaiah chapter 66, verses 22 to 24. For as the new heaven and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one noon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. That was Isaiah 66, from verses 22 to 24. Thus ends the morning reading of the scriptures. Now let's get into what we're studying today. We're getting into Deuteronomy chapter 30, which is one of the scriptures we read this morning. Deuteronomy chapter 30. These be the words, the book of the law, Adabarim, chapter 30. We started off, we did chapter 30, study verses 1 through 3. Went through that again last night. We started verse 4 and 5 and 6, 7. Last night, the recording device was giving us a difficult time, put it that way. And several reported that there was problems with the audio on the recording that we made for the video yesterday. Now, we don't do a lot of video in terms of video visuals. Our ministry is audio, and people can hear it. One of the reasons that is because, well, the main reason it is because we believe that the word of the Most High is more important than seeing what we look like. And we don't want anything to interfere in any way with the word of the Most High going forth. Now, when something like this happens, obviously is some sort of interference with the word of the Most High. We can't control everything that happens electronically here. We can't. We can only do what we do and let the Most High bring forth the fruit. So as I looked at the video last night, I was listening to it, as it were, I noticed that it started going bad. One Akath was nice enough to let me know that it was going bad at 48:10. So at about 47 minutes and change, I cut it off. And so from 47 on, you won't hear anything now. It's just going to be a 47-minute video. It was really important that, to me anyway, that we brought forth the book of Revelation as we did last night, and understanding that the United States of America is the central theme of the trouble that's going to be brought forth. The United States of America is the central theme of the controversy that's brewing between good and evil. Many people want to look at the Middle East. The Middle East, first off, I don't even like to use the term Middle East because that's a man-made term. No such thing as Middle West, Middle South, Middle North. Why is there Middle East? I don't know. It's really Africa, but they don't want to say that. It's really the same continent, but that's all right. Anyway, people are looking out there for Armageddon. Armageddon is not going to happen at this time. Armageddon is not World War III. There very well may indeed be a World War III. Don't get me wrong, because the powers that be want that to happen, to reduce the Earth's population, particularly reduce the Earth's population of people of color. That's really what they want to do, reduce the Earth's population of people of color. And as I'm talking about that, I just want to bring this out to you. I think we mentioned this before. Matter of fact, we might have mentioned it at the time of that Charlottesville, Virginia incident that happened last year. I think it was last year. Was it last year? When all them skinheads and all those Nazis and all those Ku Klux Klan members were marching in Charlottesville, Virginia. Well, the reason I bring that out is, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. The Most High that we serve, okay, we call him Yah. The Bible calls him Yah. We pronounce his full name as Yahweh. Some people say Yahuwah, and that's fine with us. We have no problem with that, but we call him Yahweh. And the thing about the Most High Yahweh is as we're reading this King James Bible, and I'm got a King James Bible, I got it in front of me, and it's the Bible that I use as the book of truth. It's the Bible I use that I believe is breathed from the spirit of my Father in heaven and your Father in heaven, the Most High Yahweh. He breathed his spirit of righteousness on Hebrew men, and these Hebrew men, and only Hebrew men, brought forth these words and put them in scrolls on pages. And then later on, he brought forth a son of Japhet named William Tyndale. Once his people had been scattered throughout the earth and scattered off their land, which they had been by that time, around the 15th or 16th century, he brings forth this Caucasian man of Anglo-Saxon descent named William Tyndale. And William Tyndale was used, he was a linguist, a person that was expert in different languages, and he spoke fluently at least 6 or 7 different languages. And he brought the translation of the ancient scrolls that were in Hebrew and Greek, and he put them in English. He was a faithful translation. You might say, well, why is it a faithful translation? We can't trust Caucasians. The reason it was a faithful translation, number one, is that if it was let's say if it was an unfaithful translation, right? Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, what would be the hallmarks that you would expect from a former Roman Catholic priest, Caucasian man? What would be the hallmarks of an unfaithful translation? Well, an unfaithful translation would seem to favor him and his religion and his people. Does that make sense? Are you listening to me so far? Am I sounding fuzzy, or is it clear? I mean, if it was an unfaithful translation, let me give you an example of an unfaithful translation. The Jehovah's Witness Bible is an unfaithful translation. It just favors them, their strange occult religion, their Caucasian European religion. It just favors them. They've changed words and taken out entire chapters in order to favor themselves, with a bunch of unlearned and ignorant men in Europe in the 1950s. That's an example of an unfavored, one that favors them. But William Tyndale, when he did this thing, he did not favor the Roman Catholic Church, even though he had been Roman Catholic. How do we know he doesn't favor the Roman Catholic Church? Well, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. As we get ready to go through Daniel and Revelation, the Roman Catholic Church is labeled as the great whore. It is labeled as an enemy of the Most High. So if William Tyndale was trying to favor that church, it didn't show forth in his translation. Okay. Number two, William Tyndale, as we mentioned earlier, he was a Caucasian man of Anglo-Saxon descent. If he was going to give a translation that was going to favor anybody, it would be them, wouldn't it? You would see that the whole Bible was full of Caucasians and Anglo-Saxons, and wasn't no people of color in there, and they discovered everything. That's what you would see. But as we study it, it is just the opposite. The Bible is mostly people of color. Mostly. You get some Caucasians in there when you get to the Greeks and the Romans, but it's people of color, right? So obviously he wasn't trying to favor them. Thirdly, you would see some sort of contradiction, because one of the things that Babylon does is contradict itself. I mean, that's one of the things Babylon does straight out the book. It contradicts itself. That's why it's called Babel, the root being Babel, being confusion, because they contradict themselves. Well, the Bible does not contradict itself. So it's a faithful translation. And he used this Caucasian man to translate it. Why would he do that if Hebrews were the medium by which he gave his spirit to bring the words? Because his people weren't faithful, and we were scattered all over the earth and being placed in slavery at that time again. And so he used this Caucasian man, I believe, to spank us a bit, to humble us, to help us understand. You understand? So, but the words are from Hebrew men. This Bible is written by Hebrew men, and it's for the nation of Israel. That's the thing. Throughout the scriptures, all the promises. In fact, the Bible says that actually in the book of Romans, it says that. Let's take a look at that scripture. Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. I want you to notice what it says in Romans chapter 9. Watch this now. Romans 9. From verse 1 down to verse 4. Notice what it says. Actually, from verse 1 to 5. Thank you, Isha. Notice what it says. I say the truth in Messiah. I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, or the set apart spirit, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Messiah, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Yahweh and the promises, whose are the fathers, of whom concerning the flesh Messiah came, who is over all, Yahweh blessed forever. Amen. Wait, so you seeing what I'm seeing here? He said that the covenants, the blessings, the promises, the law, the adoption are for who? The Israelites. Not just any Israelites. The Israelites according to the flesh. The seed of Abraham. So obviously, this book is written for them, for us. Well then, brothers and sisters, that being the case, the book being written by Israelites for Israelites, if you're going to be saved, guess what? You're going to become an Israelite. Not a Baptist, not a Pentecostal, not even a Christian. You're going to become an Israelite if you're going to be saved. As a matter of fact, even if you're a Gentile, right? If you're a Gentile, that means, you're not of the bloodline of Abraham. Your family wasn't on them slave ships that came across the ocean. You weren't part of the transatlantic slave trade. Even if you weren't and you want to be saved, you're going to have to be grafted into the nation. It's an Israelite nation, and you're going to have to be grafted into that nation through faith. The Hebrews are saved by faith, and the Gentiles through faith. Got to be grafted in. And I was telling my wife and I were talking this morning as we went on our walk this morning, went on our exercise walk, about an hour and a half exercise walk this morning. Can y'all hear me still? Are we still sounding clear? Is it still clear? Praise the Most High Yah. Amen. Now, like, there's a lot of people on the earth, because the United States of America is like the main country in the world right now. I mean, it's main country. There's a lot of people that want to come to the United States from other countries. Is that correct? Am I making that up, or is that true? Right? I mean, there are a lot of people that are looking to come to the United States, mostly for the economic opportunities that are afforded here for people from other countries, right? They want to come here. Though some come for cultural reasons, other reasons, but it's mostly for the economic opportunities that are presented here. Now, when a person comes from, let's just say, XYZ country, right? That could be any country, right? A person comes here from any country and they want to become a citizen. There's a process, right? And so, and when they go through their process of becoming a citizen, what happens? Well, first off, they have to pass a test where they have to prove that they know the history of this country. Did you know that? They got to pass a test. They got to take a test. And the immigrants that come here, and they got to prove that they know the history of this country. Well, how would they know the history of a country that's not their mother country? How would they know the history? Well, they are taught the history by people that are American. They take a class and they're taught the history by a citizen that is an American. And they are taught the history of this country. And then they have to take a test to show that they know. Then they have to pledge allegiance to this country. That's right. And they have to take an oath to pledge allegiance to be loyal to this country as their country. And if they do all that and they go through the process, they can become citizens. Now, no matter what ABC country they come from, no matter what, when they come here, they're American citizens. Right? And this country will not change to become a Chinese country or an African country, or, it's not going to become a French country. It's an American country. They came here and this is the country they created, the Caucasian people. And no matter what, the Caucasian people created this country. I mean, right? The Indians were here first, but them brothers, them Israelites got slaughtered and smacked down, and them Caucasians took this country. They just took this land. I mean, that's the truth about it. I'm just trying to tell you what it is, right? I'm not making stuff up. And so they took it. And if you're going to be here, if they're going to allow you to be here, you got to go through that process. Well, now, if you're going to be saved, you got to be an Israelite. You got to be adopted by the country. Huh? You got to be adopted by the nation. You are adopted through the Hebrew Messiah. And you didn't understand that you're going to be taught by the people that are Hebrews about the Hebrew Messiah. You're not going to come over here and be taught by some Gentile about the Hebrew nation. Does that make sense? Because you want to be part of the nation. Okay. Well, brothers and sisters, that's the situation that we're in. And the United States of America is it's like the flashpoint. It's where everything is. That's what we were talking about last night. It's the flashpoint. It's the centerpiece, man. It's where it's all going to come off. This is the nation where they brought us Israelites over here in slave ships. They did not bring us here to be citizens. Wait, test it. They did not bring us here to be citizens, right? They didn't. They brought us here to be slaves, to serve them. Now, other people that came on them ships, they came on other ships and they landed on Ellis Island in New York. They came here to be citizens. You understand? And, they came here to be citizens. They came through Ellis Island. They still do. They fly in through Ellis Island, or they come in and they come here to be citizens. But the Hebrews that was brought here on slave ships, they were not brought here to be citizens. You know why? And that is why we have such a hard time, that is us Hebrews. We have to have fights for our rights. When Italians come here from Italy, they don't have to fight for their rights. When Irish people come here from Ireland, when Polish people come here from Poland, when Japanese people come here from Japan, when Koreans come here from Korea, they don't got to fight for their rights. They got no fight for their rights. They got their rights. But when Israelites are here that came here on slave ships, you got to march in streets to get your rights. You gotta march in streets. You gotta have leaders that get killed in this country for you to, and you still ain't got no rights. And you know why that is? Because this is not supposed to be the country you're putting your trust in. This is not the land. This is not the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is not it. And the Most High doesn't want you getting it in your head that this is the land that you're going to inherit. This is not it. You're in Babylon. Let me ask you a question. Brothers and sisters, listen to me carefully, please. When Daniel was taken to Babylon and he was in Nebuchadnezzar's court, was it his desire to make Babylon the promised land? Was it? Was it his desire to say, I want this land to be the promised? No. Okay. When Esther married that Caucasian man, the Persian, and her cousin Mordecai was in Persia, was it their desire to just remain and become citizens of Persia and to build the temple in Persia and to take over the Persians' land? No. Most High had them go back to the land that was promised to them of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, that's why I say, first off, number one, this land in which we dwell, and all you Israelites all over the earth who know who you are, don't start looking in Canada or the UK or any place as the land that's promised to you. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. No matter where on this earth you go. See, this is the thing. I want to show you something. Daniel chapter 7. We're going to study Revelation. And in our study of the book of Revelation, we must needs go through that. You have to. You'll see why as we study. But you must needs go through Daniel. So let me tell you something as we're going to look at Daniel chapter 7. Let me show you something here. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. Watch this very carefully, okay? Watch this very carefully. With regard to the beast of the fourth kingdom, which is Rome. We're going to tell you why when we study that. But the beast of the fourth kingdom of Daniel 7 is Rome. And it goes from pagan Rome under the Caesars to papal Rome under the popes, which we have today, okay? And it's going to exist all the way till the plagues come. Now notice Daniel chapter 7. Talking about the little horn, which is the Roman Catholic Church. That's the little horn. Let's go Daniel 7. I'm going to read from verse 20. Remember, we talking about Deuteronomy 30. Y'all don't forget that. We getting ready to come back to that. You know how I do. So Daniel chapter 7 from verse 20. From verse 20 down to verse 23. Watch carefully. Watch carefully. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow. Watch, watch. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, watch, watch. The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. Wait a minute. The fourth kingdom shall devour how much of the earth did we read here? How much of it? Is it good? How much of the earth? It said it's going to devour the whole earth. It's diverse from all other kingdoms. Why is it diverse? This particular power is different because in most situations, even today, when there's a takeover of a country, it's military. Right? When there's a takeover, what you'll see is a military coup. I mean, right? When the CIA goes to try to institute some puppet government somewhere, what you end up seeing is a military coup, and a lot of people end up getting killed. Isn't that what happens? Right? Like in Libya, like in Nigeria right now is going on, in Biafra, like in Angola, like in all the nations where these Caucasian people go. That's what happens. You get puppet governments. But there's always military war bloodshed. But this is different from all the others. Why? Because it's not just a military takeover. It's a religious takeover. It's a religious takeover, and it's the taking over of the mind of the planet. The whole planet's mind is taken over. That's why this one is different. And it says what? It shall be the fourth kingdom. It shall devour the whole earth. And we read last night in Revelation chapter 13, the Bible said all the world wondered after the beast. Did it not? Did it say part of the world? Did it say so? No. It said all the world. Revelation 13, verse 4 and what was it? Verse 4. No, verse 3 and 4. Yeah, 3 and 4. Revelation 13. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. Brothers and sisters, this is a worldwide takeover. And it's not happening. It's already happening. Y'all think it's something in the future. This is already taking place. It's already taking place. Okay? If you not wake up on that is already done, you need to wake up. It ain't nothing coming. This already done. We passed that. We in the awakening now. They'd already subdued the earth and took it over. Yes, wait. Doesn't the world acknowledge only 3 major religions? Wait, talk to me now. Does not the world acknowledge only 3 major religions? Am I making that up, or doesn't it? When you hear these people talking about the 3 major religions, the Judean Christian, what do they call it? The Judeo-Christian ethic. Ha! And it's all good. You know why it's all good? Because it needs to be that way. We need to get this thing. You know what? This thing getting ready to, it's got to come off like that. Got to come off like that. Because the Hebrews getting ready to bring what they getting ready to bring. It ain't got nothing to do with no Judeo-Christian ethic. It got nothing to do with no Judaism. Got nothing to do with no Islam. Got nothing to do with no Christianity. They getting ready to bring it. And we are getting prepared for that purpose. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, we're getting prepared. We're being prepared by the spirit of righteousness from Yah. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Yah is not playing. He's not. And we don't have to worry about guns. We ain't got to worry about tanks. We ain't got to worry about planes and bombs or TV stations or radio stations or Federal Reserve notes. Nope. Our concern, our only concern, is the righteousness of the Most High Yah. Because you know what? Yah's going to win. There's no question. Yah's going to win this battle. There's no question about that. I mean, as powerful as the United States is, with all of its army and military might, brothers and sisters, they don't want to see Yahushua come in that sky with his army. I mean, they don't want to know that. They don't want to see nothing like that. Matter of fact, the Bible does show us what they're going to do when Yahushua does come with his army. What they're going to do? They're going to run. They're going to cry, fall on us to the rocks, hide us from his face. We don't even want to see this brother. We don't want to see him. The Bible promises, as we are faithful as Israelites to the commandments of Yah, as we are faithful to his spirit of righteousness, one of us will chase 1,000. 2 or 3 of us, 10 of us will put 10,000 to flight. Brothers and sisters, he's preparing us. I'm telling you, he's preparing us. And it's on. I mean, everything is in place right now. The whole world is wandering after the beast. The Roman church controls the earth through Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Controls the whole earth. Everything you see, every television show, every news show, every incident that's taking place on the earth is reported and created and made by one of those three religions. Everything. Are you noticing that? Do you notice that? Have you paid attention to that? Everything. Okay. And when you even start talking this stuff about Israelite, that you're a cult, you're crazy. Okay, it's gonna be like that. And don't get caught up in these camps, brothers and sisters. These so-called Israelite camps, they're setups. It's a setup. Don't get caught up in those setup. Okay, it's a setup. And you know what? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of it. And you know what? Listen. In movements past, the government has infiltrated. And where did they learn the game of infiltration from? From the Jesuits of Rome. The Jesuit order was created after the Council of Laodicea and the Council of Trent. It was created by the Roman Catholic Church to infiltrate religions, to put a stop on the Protestant movement. And it has been successful in its endeavor to do that. But what happened, they became so good at infiltrating, because what they would do, you see, they would pose as Protestants. They would act like, matter of fact, William Tyndale, we talked about him earlier in the start of this study here. William Tyndale was betrayed by a Roman Catholic who posed as a Protestant. That's why he was betrayed by this man that posed as a Protestant and became William Tyndale's friend and then sold him out. So the Jesuits are master liars and master deceivers, and so they became good at infiltrating religious movements and then destroying them from within. But they became so good at it that they started not only infiltrating religious movements, they started infiltrating political movements. Political movements. You understand? They start infiltrating politics and governments so that they started taking over nations. That's why you had a Napoleon in charge of France and you had another Napoleon in charge of Spain. The Jesuits of Rome set that mess up. You understand? That's how that game rolled. That's how you got the Queen giving homage to the Pope. And that's how they took over all the religions of the earth. All of them. I don't care which one it is. You know, the Maharishi, Indian religion or whatever, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, and of course, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all of them is controlled by Rome. Now, what happened now, let me give you a little breakdown. They were so good at what they did that obviously they spread out and they got stuff like the Scottish Rite of Freemasons, right? They got all these secret organizations. And then they got, wait a minute, they got stuff like the CIA and the NSA and the FBI and a whole bunch of other stuff with letters that we don't even know about. All of them are descendants of the Jesuit order and the techniques of the Jesuit order. They infiltrate. Okay, so they have already taken over all churches, all governments. It doesn't matter what country, I don't care how deep in the woods you go, you can't run from them. You can't. Okay? I'm just telling you the truth about it. It's all Babylon now. It said they're going to subdue how much of the earth? How much of the earth did we just read? How much did it say? It said the whole earth. You can be in Costa Rica, they there. You could be in Ghana, they there. Of course, they're in all the European nations, but it don't matter. So you might say, brother, well, where are we supposed to go? You ready? You're supposed to go to the Most High. You're supposed to go to his word. You're supposed to wear his righteousness, because when you're wearing his righteousness and you're in his word, I don't care what they do. I don't care how much of the earth they control. That doesn't matter. You know, brothers and sisters, again, I like to bring up Moses because Moshe, when he was up there in Mount Sinai, he didn't have no food, no water. For 80 days he did it. 40 twice he did it. And he come down and his face glowing. So let me tell you something. If the Most High can sustain that brother with no food, no water for almost 3 months, what makes you think he can't take care of you and me? when the time comes. You know, one of Ak and I were talking yesterday, and Ak said, "Man, I don't know if I got the faith to be like Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, you know, and stand firm on the truth when we getting confronted with being thrown in the furnace." And you know what I said to him? I said, "You know what? You will have the faith when you need the faith." And that's the truth about it. The Most High don't just throw grace on you anytime, just for show. See, he don't show up and show out as they do in these heathen churches. He's not about showing up and showing out. All right? That's not his role. He don't roll like that. Let me tell you something. But when it's time, the brother will give you what you need when it's time. What he's doing right now is he's seeking to develop you and I in righteousness. That's why the word becomes all important, brothers and sisters. No matter what anybody says, if me or any teacher or any church, I don't care who it is, where it is, man, woman, angel, if they tell you to stay away from this Bible, you need to walk away from them. You hear what I'm saying to you? Stay in the word. The word. The Bible says in the beginning was the word. You know, when you look up, I looked it up. I looked it up yesterday. I looked up the Greek. In the beginning was the word, right? I looked up the term word. And you know, I have actually expected it to be different from word any place else, but I was wrong. When I looked up the term word, you know, in the beginning was the word. I looked up the term. In fact, I'm looking it up now because I forgot where I found it. You know, your brother's getting old, but that's all right. I'm good though. The Most High got you. Got me. Now look here. In the beginning was the word, and it's 3056. 3056 on the Greek side. That's right. And I looked it up because you know in the beginning was the word, and the word was made flesh, right? So I'm looking this up, and I was looking at it yesterday, and I found it's an expression, right? It's an expression, right? That's what it says, right? I'm looking it up. 3056. I'm looking it up right now as I'm talking to you. I looked it up yesterday, but like I said, I forgot. I got to keep looking. Let's see. I'll praise the Most High one day. One day, we're gonna get something from the Most High we're never gonna forget. One day we're gonna get something. We're gonna have it's gonna be better than Total Recall. It's gonna be better than that. It's gonna be deep. Praise the Most High. Anyway, it's the word logos, something said, including the thought, a topic, a subject of discourse, also reasoning, the mental faculty or motive. Now, the word was made flesh. What is that? That is the thought. That is something said was made flesh. What was said? What was spoken by the Most High that was made flesh? Well, the Bible tells us, obviously, that the Messiah is the messenger of the covenant. The covenant was spoken by the Most High. The covenant wasn't just inspired by a prophet, right? Right? Am I telling you the truth? I mean, the covenant wasn't just inspired by a prophet, right? I mean, that's powerful when the prophet gets inspiration. In fact, the word prophet, I ain't forgot that one. The word prophet means inspired person. So when the inspired person receives the spirit of the Most High and starts to write, like Moses did, or like Isaiah or Jeremiah or one of the prophets, that's powerful stuff, right? There's no question. But the covenant wasn't just no word written by an inspired person. The covenant was written by the finger of Yah himself, and he spoke it off of Sinai with power. And that word, that covenant was made flesh. That audible word was turned into flesh, and that's what we call Mashiach Yahushua. Wasn't no Caucasian man with blue eyes and blonde hair. No, it was a Hebrew man from the tribe of Judah, the nation of Israel. Praise the Most High Yah. That's who stands before the Most High on our behalf as our high priest in perfect righteousness, who offered himself for the nation. For the nation. You say, but God so loved the world. Yeah, the world of Hebrews, the world of Israelites. Indeed. And if you're going to be saved, you better get into the nation. Ain't going to be a lot of people saved, though. The Bible says it's a remnant. It tells us many places If the Most High had not left unto us a very small remnant, we'd be like Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, though Israel be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant will return. And here is the patience of the saints. Here are they, the patience, what's left. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shah. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. They that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the testimony of Yahweh Shah, the witness of Yahweh Shah. The witness is justification by faith, the righteousness of Yah. Praise the Most High. I know I spoke a lot right there, but y'all listen to the video, y'all catch it. Now, I said all that to say, this awakening that's taking place, this turning point that's happening, look, you want to see what's going on? You see a lot. When I was in the SDA church, man, they watching the Pope like a hawk. Them fools watching the Pope like a hawk. You see, it makes sense. Brothers and sisters, whenever Gentiles get a hold of the truth and they left without the guidance of a Hebrew, they're going to turn that mess into paganism 100% of the time. There's no doubt that's what they're going to do. They're going to turn that mess into paganism 100% of the time. 100%. With not even an exception to that rule. They're going to turn it into paganism. So anyway, when I was in the SDA church, man, them fools looking at the sons of your faith, they watching Pope very close. Oh, Pope getting ready to change. He getting ready to make a national Sunday law. It's going to happen next week. Them fools been saying that for 100 years. Literally. National Sunday law coming next week. You better join the church. Been saying that for 100 years. Right, Sister Josie? They've been saying that for 100 years. Every week there's some person writing an article. Oh, last week Pope said it's going to be the Sunday law. Garbage. Garbage. But you know who you want to keep your eyes on? First off, you want to keep your eyes on the Hebrew Messiah in the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary. That's number one. You need to keep your eyes on that righteousness. That's number one. Keep your eyes on his word. Same thing, written word, word made flesh. Praise the Most High, Yah. But if you want to look at something on the earth as a sign, look at how these Hebrews are awakening in the United States of America. You better watch closely because that's where it's happening. On these street corners in these ghettos, they're awakening. And nobody's paying attention because a lot of them running around with these stupid uniforms on. I mean, that's all right. You know, that's cool. I mean, if that's what they want to do. A lot of them joining these dumb camps, man. But that, you know what? That's part of the journey. Don't let it be. Don't think that that's the end all. Even though them government agents are coming in there and trying to get ahead of it, right? The government agents are already out, brothers and sisters. Make no mistake. They have tried to infiltrate the Hebrew Israelite movement. There's no question. You got government agents leading certain camps right now. That's what's going on. But if you are following the word and the spirit of the Most High Yah, you will see right through the government agent. You see it through it. Just like when you remember when Ananias and Sapphira came into Peter's face, tried that foolishness with the money. Peter wasn't there when they did the foolishness, but he saw right through it. Peter ain't no God now, and he definitely ain't no Pope. But Peter saw right through it. Well, brothers and sisters, does not the Most High see everything? Is there anything hidden from him? And if it's not hidden from him and he wants to show it to you and me, can anything stop him from doing that? No. So, brothers and sisters, we just need to connect with that spirit of righteousness and holiness and truth and stay in your word and stay in prayer. Never mind what the rest of these fools doing. Never mind what these churches are doing. Never mind what your former friends and brethren and family is doing. Stand firm on truth. Stand firm on it. The spirit of the Most High Yah is what's going to seal us. It's by his spirit that we're sealed, brothers and sisters. We're sealed by his spirit. Bible says that. Whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. That's Ephesians chapter 4. So don't grieve the spirit because you're sealed by that. See? Don't cause the spirit to flee from you because of your pride or because of your stubbornness or because you want to be a God or you want to have disciples after yourself like some of these people do. No. Follow and give honor. The only reason you and I exist on planet Earth is to give honor to the Most High Yah. And there's only going to basically be two camps of people, wheat and tares. And the wheat is going to give honor to Yah, and the tares are not. That's about as plain as I can make it. The wheat is going to give honor and glory to the Most High Yah. The tares are not. Simple as that. So as part of this awakening, the Most High will have a people that's going to return to him, to serve him, to go back to the way our fathers worship, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to go back to that God that they serve. See, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the God and Father of Yahushua, the Messiah. Ain't no different. And Yahushua didn't come to start no new religion called Christianity. He definitely didn't come to do that. He came to give honor and glory to his Father. Every time, many times he said, I only doing what my Father told me to do. I'm only speaking the words that my Father gave me. I'm only doing the works that my Father showed me. Whatever my Father showed me is what I'm doing. He started driving him crazy. He was talking about his Father so much. Because he was only here to serve the Father. He wasn't here to start no new religion. He wasn't doing that. And he told the disciples, because he is Mashiach, he's higher than any prophet, he's higher than any angel, he's Mashiach. And Father gave Mashiach authority to cause anyone that Mashiach decides to be baptized with the Father's Spirit. Let me say that again, because y'all ain't catch that. Let me say that again. You ready? Father gave Mashiach, Yahushua, authority to baptize with Father's Spirit any person that Yahushua decides should receive it. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, the Bible said. He gave Mashiach that authority. Now, Father is still, Mashiach wants you to worship the Father, but you better give Mashiach his glory, and you better recognize. You want that Spirit, you better ask Father to have Mashiach send you that Spirit. And he's preparing you to keep his commandments, statutes, and judgments. So that when you go in the land, like when our father was getting prepared to go in the land, you won't mess up. See, he's not going to have this whole thing. Okay, look, Deuteronomy, he's getting our fathers prepared to go in the land. That's what this book is about. He's getting them prepared to go in the land, right? You notice that? Right? When you go in the land, keep my commandments. When you go in the land, honor your parents, that when you go in the land, so your life will be long on the land. When you go in the land, do this. When you go in the land, do that. That's what he says throughout the whole book of Deuteronomy. Because preparing the Israelites to go into the land that he's promised them. Well, guess what? He's preparing us to go into the land. And it's not the way this earth is right now. No. He's first going to destroy all these heathen off the earth. Some of us going to die, but all of them going to die. No, listen to me carefully, brothers and sisters. Some of us going to die. He might put some of us to sleep. Some of us going to die of disease, cancer. Some of us going to be murdered in the street like some of our brothers have been. Some of us going to die. Don't worry about that. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. They said, but what if, death, what you mean? I said, listen, and they were worried about their loved one that died. And I said, listen here, to your loved one, if they're faithful, in their eyes, death is but a second. You understand something about death, brothers and sisters? The dead have no sense of time and space. They don't just go to heaven in their spirit and dwell up there. That ain't the truth. The deaf have no sense of time and space. It's like a sleep. And just think about yourself. I mean, some of y'all who have worked for a living, if you ever worked hard and you worked so hard one day, you just dropped in your bed and slept, right? And you just slept and you woke up and you didn't know what day it was. You didn't know what time it was. You didn't know how long you've been sleeping. That's when you're really tired. That's when you really work. Y'all ever experienced that? You worked so hard, you just fell down and slept, and you slept such a deep sleep, man. Then when you woke up from the sleep, you stretch and you yawn, and you got to look at the clock. You got to look and see, how long have I been asleep? That's what death is. Okay? When they wake up out that resurrection, they ain't going to know they've been dead a year, a minute, 1,000 years. It's going to seem like a moment to them because they just died. You understand? They just died. That's it. They just fell asleep in death, and yep, they're waking up. How long was I dead for? I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? So don't worry about death. Some of us going to die, but all of them going to die. Some of us going to die, but all them heathen going to die. And they ain't coming back. See? When they catch that second death, it's over. See? They might kill us, but Yahweh, he just like Yahweh called Lazarus from the grave, Yahweh gonna call all of us. And all of us, he said to Adam, you know, Most High said to Adam, from the dust you are, and dust you gonna return, right? Isn't that what he said? He said, you was dust, and dust you, and they say right now at funerals, you know, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, right? They say that. But look here, Mashiach Yahweh can cause the particles of dust to come together from wherever they are and make it the army of Israel. Yes, he can. The Bible shows us that. Well, can these bones live? That's what he asked the prophet. Can these bones live? Yes, they can. He can call that dust together. You understand? So don't worry about death, brothers and sisters. When you're in righteousness, you ain't worried about that. And when he calls us forth, we coming forth, and we ain't never going to die again. We ain't never going to get tired again. We ain't never going to get old. There's no more disease going to come on us. There's no more oppressor. There's no more slavery. There's no more corruption. There's no more Federal Reserve notes. There's no more politics. There's no more evil ever again when we rise up. So some of us might have to die. That's all right, because all of them going to die. And they can't do nothing about it, because when they die, they ain't coming back. They ain't coming back. That's it. They done. Let's look at Obadiah. Watch y'all forgot about Obadiah, didn't you? You forgot all about that powerful prophet Obadiah. Obadiah is powerful. Obadiah is powerful, man. And you know, let me show you Obadiah. Let me break off some scripture from Obadiah. Obadiah is powerful. Obadiah is like, you know, one chapter prophets. Just have Most High just gave him just a little bit to say. It's right after Amos. It's one chapter. Now watch this. Obadiah. Let's see, where should I start? Oh yeah. Obadiah from verse 13 down to verse 17. Watch this now. Praise the Most High, Yah. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people, talking to the heathen, in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldst thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those that did escape. Neither shouldst thou have delivered them up to those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, that's them heathen out there in the land right now, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink. They shall swallow down. Watch this. And they shall be as though they had not been. Ooh. But upon the Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness to the house of Jacob, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Oh yeah. They're going to be as though they had not been, as though they never existed. Bye. See ya. And I can't say it's been nice knowing you. Bye. That's what's going to happen. Bye. They're going to be disappeared, fade away, gone. See, some of us going to die, but we're going to come back from death, like Messiah came back from death. But all of them going to die, including their leader, Asatan. He going to die, and they're going to be gone. So right now, he's preparing us, and it starts with obedience to commandments. And it starts with the awakening that we've been reading about in Deuteronomy chapter 30. So let's look at it now. I'm going to start again at verse 1, but this time I'm going to read all the way down to verse 8. Deuteronomy 30 from verse 1 to verse 8. This is how it all, that's why I'm so excited. This is how it all starts right now. All the prophets were talking about you and me and this time in which we live. Notice again, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, where the Yahweh thy Elohim have driven thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, where the Yahweh thy Elohim have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. Thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh. See, his voice was made manifest in his covenant. His voice is made manifest in Yahweh Shai. His voice is made manifest in the words of the prophets. Thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. The difference between Yahweh and his people and the rest of the planet do not obey his commandments. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. I'm going to pick on some churches today because I'm just going to give you all some examples. And I can give you a good example of the SDA church because I was in the SDA church. Let me tell you about the SDA church. They got this Caucasian woman named Ellen White. Okay. And this Caucasian woman was sent to them Caucasian people to get them to come to the covenant. That's what she was doing. Y'all don't know about this, but I was in there, so I know what I'm talking about. She was trying to get them to come to the covenant. This woman was ignorant as to who the true Hebrews were, and there wasn't nobody. They wouldn't listen. Do you know that before there was SDA church, do you know that the Most High sent a black man to them Caucasian heathen to try to get them to the truth? Do you know he did that? He sent the black man there first. His name was Hayes and Foss, and they rejected him because he was a Hebrew. They rejected him. So so they wouldn't listen to the brother. So he sent them a Caucasian woman. They didn't listen to her either. She ended up dying, right? So then after she died, this is what them heathen do. They always try to venerate somebody after they die, right? So they try to venerate her into some goddess now. Like they be reading her books and everything. Like she was from the 1800s, brothers and sisters, and she didn't even have all the truth, and they going back after her now, right? But wait a minute. She had this thing, and this is what the point I'm making is when you give the heathen the truth without being guided by the Hebrews, they're going to turn it into paganism. So the Bible teaches us, right, that in terms of our diet, we should not only try, but he commands us not to eat blood. Y'all know that, right? He commands you not to eat blood. He commands you not only not to eat blood, he commands you don't eat the fat of the animal. That's what's supposed to be burned on the altar. He said, don't eat the fat of the animal and don't eat no blood. And then he commands you as Israelites. He said, wait, let me show you from the scripture. He said, this is Deuteronomy 14:2. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people, that is special people unto himself above all the nations of the earth. The next verse says, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. Then he goes into what's the abominable things, right? Now, what them Caucasians did in the SDA church, they done took it a step further. They say, look, you can't eat no meat at all. Like if you're not a vegan, you're gonna be lost. That's Ellen White's words. She said that. If you're not a vegan in the end of time, you're gonna be lost. Now that would seem to contradict the Bible, doesn't it? I mean, the Bible doesn't say that. Did the Bible make any such statement? That if you did it say that? That if you're not a vegan at the time of Messiah, you're gonna be lost? Did the Bible say that? No, the Bible doesn't say that. Because you know why? Because it's not true. But see, this is what happened when you give Caucasians and you give these heathens the scriptures and they run off with it. They're gonna create paganism. I mean, look, this is where Christianity came from. Constantine and all Christians, all these Protestant churches are just that, Protestants broken off from the Roman Catholic Church, right? I mean, that's if you don't know the truth about it. And if you're a Hebrew, you got to be honest now. If you're a Hebrew, your fathers got Christianity from their slave masters after they was beating them to death, after they was torturing them, after they brought them over here like sardines in a can. That's where you got it from. You ain't getting it from the Most High. That's where you got it from. You following traditions of heathen. And if you got to be honest, when you study the scriptures, and like I said, I read it through umpteen times. Hey, listen, I don't see no word Christianity in the whole book. And the only 3 times that they use the word Christian is some heathen calling the disciples a Christian. Disciples ain't calling themselves Christian. And yet this is one of the 3 major religions, a man-made religion that's using the Bible for its own benefit. Not even following the truth. Now, listen, people like Ellen White, you got to be careful because you know what? Ellen White herself, she made some mistakes. Yeah, she did. There's no question about it. But you don't know if the Most High going to raise up because maybe she was following the truth that she knew at that time. You understand? Her truth is no good for you now, but maybe it was good for her then. You understand what I'm saying? And if any SDAs are listening, you listen to me, you listen good. Just like Martin Luther. Martin Luther came with the truth. That boy was in Germany. That boy was in the middle of the Caucasians. He wanted them, right? He in Germany, and he came with the truth of justification by faith as he knew it. Now, he don't know it the way we know it today, but he came as we knew it, and he knew something was wrong with the Roman Catholic Church, right? So listen, the people that were listening to him at that time, a lot of them going to be saved. A lot of them going to be saved. But you listen to that foolishness today, the foolishness he was writing and preaching about, and you try to follow it, you're going to be lost. You know why? Because we way ahead of that right now. We way ahead of that. You going backwards. Okay? So you can't look back. Like, look, check it out. This is where we at right now. You try to follow what Elijah Muhammad was teaching, you're going to be lost. Now, Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, he caused a lot of black people to get straight that couldn't get straight before. He did. The stuff he brought, even though he made a lot of it up, the stuff he brought caused a lot of people to get straight that couldn't get straight before. But if you listen, now that was for them, that was 1930s, 40s, 50s. But you listen to that now, you're going to be lost. You messing around with Farrakhan? Listen, don't mess around with Farrakhan. Don't mess around. The brother does come with some truth, but so does Asatan, doesn't it? Huh? Listen here. Don't be messing around them. Nah. You can't. Malcolm X, I love Malcolm X. I do. He's one of my favorite human beings that ever walked this earth, man. I love Malcolm X. You know why I love Malcolm X? Because whatever he was teaching, what you got from Malcolm X was a love for his people. That's what you got from him. No matter what he was teaching, no matter what he was saying, at the bottom line of it, you got a love for his people, his downtrodden people, his oppressed people. That's why I love Malcolm X. But I can't follow what Malcolm X was teaching in the 1960s. I'll be lost. I'll be going backwards because we way past that now. We way past that. You understand? The truth is progressive, brothers and sisters. It moves forward. It does not go backward. It builds and goes forward. And that's where we at right now. We're going forward. You understand? We understand more than the people before us, because it's going forward. And let me tell you something else. There's going to be people out here in the world right now that's going to come after us that's going to get more than us. You got to understand that. That's how the truth goes, man. And that's why, as a teacher, I am being instructed by the Most High to stay humble, to stay patient, and to stay meek. Because I ain't nothing. He can replace me today, right now. He don't need me. I need him. You understand? I need him. He don't need me. He can bless me by using me to bring forth his word, but he don't need me. You understand? He don't. See? These Christians be acting like it's God is privileged to have them come in their church. Man, go on with that. Keep on. Keep it moving. He don't need you. You know what happened? when our fathers sinned against the Most High, he told Moses, step aside. I'm going to make you a great nation. Step aside. I'm going to just destroy all of them. Step aside. I'm going to make you a great nation. He don't need but one. And he could get that. You understand? He could raise up a stone for his glory if he need to. This is the Most High we talking about. You understand? So it's a privilege. You might be by yourself in your house, in your apartment, and none of your friends want to be around you. And you think you are by yourself. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for you. Because you're privileged. The prophets before us suffered, brothers and sisters. They were hung at stakes. They were cut in half. They were cutting their heads off. The Apostle Paul got his head cut off for this truth, man. So did Yakanan. And you worried about somebody ain't fellowshipping with you. Man, come on now. And our fathers that were in slavery, do you know they didn't clothe and feed them brothers the way they were supposed to, man? They brought them over in them slave ships and worked them to death, literally. Didn't give them no shoes in the wintertime. Okay? We and you ain't got nothing to complain about, man. The Most High is setting us up. All you got to do is spend the time in his word and in prayer. That's all you got to do. Sometimes, man, I mean, look, listen here. We're in an age where people are being taught to be soft. I mean, you have to understand people, and that's all right. But there's some things for Oprah's and Dr. Phil's couch, and there's some things for the Most High. You hear what I'm saying? And sometimes we just got to get over it and move forward, man. Our fathers were enslaved. They still beating us down in the street. They still putting us in prisons at a triple the rate of anybody else. Triple the rate of anybody else. They still out here trying to Planned Parent us into abortion death, our babies. They still out here poisoning us with these flu shots and foolishness. They still out here trying to mess us up and mess our stores up and mess our neighborhoods up. They still doing it. But there's a Most High in the kingdom of heaven that cannot be stopped. His word will not be stopped. And if you stand with him, you cannot be stopped. You understand? Brothers and sisters, yeah, my father used to put it on my behind and my brothers behind. Boy, that man used to go off on us. Yeah, I went off on my son too. Yeah, I talked to you about that. But listen here, man, it's time to move forward, man. For real. We got things to do. We got things to do, brothers and sisters. For real. We got spirit to get. We got spirit of righteousness to get. We ain't got time to be dwelling on the past, right? I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't remember where we came from now. No, I ain't saying that. Okay? We remember you came off them slave ships. Remember who you are and how you got here. But we ain't looking for nobody's sympathy. That's what I'm talking about. We ain't looking for nobody's sympathy. I'm tired of brothers trying to explain to Caucasian people why are we angry. I mean, no, man. If y'all ain't getting it, y'all just ain't gonna get it. Just ain't gonna get it. You just ain't going to. Why are we angry? You crazy? I mean, really, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, why are y'all so angry? For real? It's the black man that's the target of all your wrath, all your plans, all your destruction. You wonder why we angry? And you people run into these Caucasian Christian churches and white Jesus is all over the walls, and you wondering why your kids don't want nothing to do with it? What? Who's really crazy? You understand who's really crazy? No. It's time for us to keep the commandments of Yah. And those that's going to be with it, let them be with it. Those that ain't going to be with it, they ain't going to be with it. You see, that's what the Messiah meant when he said, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. You remember when he said that? He said, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. What he's trying to say is, if you're going to be with it, you with it. If you not, you not. We moving forward. I ain't trying to build up one of my brothers, good friend of mine, Todd, Gabar, you need to start a church, man. You can get money. Oh man, I said, you just missing the whole point, man. I am not about trying to get no money. I am not about trying to start no church. Now listen here. If Messiah didn't start a church, who am I to start a church? You understand? If Messiah say, listen, he ain't coming to start no new religion, who am I to do it? You understand? He ain't coming to start no new religion. He said, on this rock, I'm going to build my church. What is he talking about? He is the rock that is building the Hebrew nation. He is the cornerstone that was rejected, that the Hebrew nation is built on. There ain't no other cornerstone. Ain't no other nation need to be built. You understand? Ain't no other one need to be built up. He ain't saying there's going to be a second stone. Nope. Ain't but one. He is the chief cornerstone of the nation, upon which the whole nation is built. And that's by design of the Most High Yah. Praise the Most High. And all the curse is going to come on our enemies. Yes, it's natural, brothers and sisters. I hear you. I feel the same way. I mean, listen, man. I had them call me nigger and kick me out their restaurant and kick me out their store and fire me off my job and pay me less than all the other Caucasian people with less experience get paid. Oh, all that's happened. Definitely. Give me the evil eye because my skin is a little brown. And I ain't even as black as some of our brothers. I'm brown, but I ain't like some of our brothers black, you know. But and they be looking at you like you crazy, or like you gonna rob them, or like you gonna do something. That's their problem, man. That's their problem. Right now, our focus, righteousness. Our focus, truth. Our focus, the word of the Most High Yah. You understand? We got to move forward, man. Because, like I said, some of us gonna die, but all of them gonna die. This kingdom, this Babylonian kingdom, it ain't gonna last, man. Don't let the 240 years that this nation has been in existence fool you into thinking it's going to continue for another 240 years. It is not. We're at the tail end of its existence right now. And because the United States of America is being used by the Pope of Rome and the Vatican, and is being controlled by Jesuits and Jesuit-trained people like the CIA, FBI, NSA, and all them other alphabet letters they got. That's because it's being controlled. Don't you think that in a moment, you see, brothers and sisters, Ham was more powerful than all these people. Nimrod, these people don't want to see Nimrod. Nimrod was that boy was tough. And when he went to go make that Tower of Babel, Most High put the kibosh on that. Bang, that was the end of that. You understand? And there's nothing that these brothers doing today that's going, you know. So they could have their Federal Reserve note. They could have their money, their land. They could take over all these nations and steal the assets. They could do all that. Go ahead. Enjoy it. Because you know what? We got a God that you can't see. And you gonna see him. And by the time you see him, you ain't gonna want to see him. But it's gonna be too late. The invisible one is who we serve, who created the heaven, the earth, and all things therein. And he gave us his commandments to keep. Praise the Most High Yah. Oh, yeah. And he gonna put the curses that you put on us, these poison food, this poison in the system, in the water, and Detroit ain't got no water, and Flint, Michigan got poison water and all this. Yeah. You gonna catch that yourself. You gonna catch that. You gonna drink blood. Yeah, some of us gonna die, but all of them gonna die. For real. For real. Stay with the truth, brothers and sisters. Let's read a few more verses of this thing, man. Deuteronomy chapter 30, from verse 9. From verse 9 down to from verse 9 to 11. We getting ready to get into something here. I can see it. Deuteronomy 30, from verse 9 to verse 11. Notice what it says. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments, his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. Wait a minute, that's the beginning of Psalm. So he gonna rejoice over us. Brothers and sisters, you see, like we talked about last week, all this time, up until now, up until after 1844. I'm gonna show you why as we study Revelation. That date is important. But after 1844, it's been a progression. First of all, the first stage for the Hebrew was for us to get them literal chains off our hands and necks, right? Because they had them chains on our hands and necks. So he took the chains off our hands and necks. Now, some of us, a lot of us still got chains in prison, right? But he took the chains off enough of us so that we could start progressing. Then he started having leaders. They're coming out of ignorance and darkness, like Frederick Douglass, like Harriet Tubman, like Sojourner Truth, even Caucasian ones like John Brown. Then he started having W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey. He started having these brothers that you ain't even heard of that were coming out of the woodwork, right? Then he got other people like Elijah Poole, who changed his name to Elijah Muhammad. He come off with Malcolm X. He come off even Martin Luther King and all of them. They start coming up. Now, Martin Luther King, I'm gonna tell you the truth. At first, he was a sellout. At first, but before he was murdered, he started bringing it. He started bringing it before he was murdered. That's why they murdered him. See, he was down at first. He was bringing just what the Caucasians wanted him to bring, that peaceful demonstration foolishness. That was designed. It was all controlled. Okay, but at the end, right before they murdered him, he started changing his tune a little bit. He started becoming more militant, right? And then they killed him because he wasn't with the program anymore. So the Most High raised him up too, to witness, to be a witness. Okay. Now, as we coming now at the end, the true Hebrews are raising up, not with politics. Don't get into politics, brothers and sisters. Don't get into politics. See, that was the mistake of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. That was their mistake. That was their mistake. Politics, see, is about government, right? Am I right? You know, when you talk about politics, you talk about government, right? As Hebrews, it ain't but one government we got our eyes on. Ain't but one. And it ain't this one. It ain't no country on this earth. It's not that. The government of heaven is the only government we're watching. We got one monarch. It's Yah, right? And he's appointed his son, Yahweh Shai, to be king of this earth. And he's going to be king of this earth. No question. That's the only government we watching, and our government has a law. It's the covenant. Yeah. So we following that government, right? That's why I said 144,000 gonna be charged with treason, just like Messiah was charged with treason, because he claimed to be a king, and we have one king, that's Caesar. That's what they said, right? So we're gonna be doing the same thing. But see, that we ain't worried about politics. See, when I was telling this brother, like, it's like this. When I was in New York growing up, and somebody said, I want to work on Wall Street, right? If somebody said, I want to work on Wall Street, I was in New York. I wanted to work on Wall Street at one time. And when you say that, what that indicates to the listener is you want money. That's the only reason you want to go to Wall Street. You ain't going to Wall Street for the scenery. You're going to Wall Street because you're ready to crush heads and get paid. That's what it's about when you say you're going to Wall Street. And so if somebody say, I'm going into politics, well, we understand now you after power. Power is what you after. Okay, we understand that. And in the black community, they understand this. They get fooled by these Uncle Tom leaders that are leading them the wrong way. But when somebody say I'm getting into politics, you're going after power. What kind of power? Earthly power, Babylonian power. That's what politicians are after. Don't make no mistake. They might be a politician that might start off wanting to actually serve his community or her community. But at the end of the day, when they get chewed up in that machine, they're about the greed and the power, just like the rest of them. Okay, because it's a corrupt. This is the thing, brothers and sisters. You can't dive into a cesspool and smell any different from the cesspool. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You can't dive into a cesspool and smell any different from the cesspool. Okay, you're going to be smelling just like the cesspool. All right. So don't worry about politics. It don't matter if it's Democrat, homosexual loving Obama, or if it's if it's Caucasian loving, skinhead loving Trump, it don't matter. Or if it's womanizing lying Clinton, it don't matter. Or his gay wife, it don't matter. They're all corrupt because the system's corrupt. It's Babylon. Don't get caught up in that mess, all right? Don't get caught up in that. There's only one government we worried about. That's the kingdom of Yah, his righteousness. That's it. We want to bring forth his glory. Don't get caught up in these politics. So the Bible said he's going to fight for us, whereas before he was fighting against us. He was fighting against us. When we come off them slave ships, even before that, we was in Timbuktu and what was called Negro land, what the Caucasian man termed Negro land, which is now West Africa. It's called Negro land, Timbuktu. When we was over there, he was still fighting against us. And then when we came on them slips, he was still fighting against us. And up until this century, he's been fighting against us. But now with the awakening, he's trying to tell us, okay, now it's time for y'all to wake up. I'm now getting ready to fight for you. And when he fights for us, brothers and sisters, there is nothing nobody can do about it. The only way you're going to lose that blessing is if you give it up. That's all. And the devil will induce you, threaten you, whatever he needs to do to you, to tempt you to give it up. He'll use men, women, power, money, death, whatever he needs to do to get you to give up the truth. He'll give it. He'll put that on you. Don't be surprised when people come out with the truth and all of a sudden you see, well, what happened to them? Why they turn? Don't be surprised. He will use any means. And he knows what appeals to each one of us individually. One of us might be a certain type of looking woman or a certain type of man. One of us, it might be money. Another of us, it might be power, right? Some of us just crave attention. It might be somebody giving us attention. Whatever it is, he'll give you that to get you to turn in the truth. Whatever it is. If he got to threaten you and bring you down, he'll do that too. Threaten your family, he'll do that too. But you see, the nation of Israel understands that the righteousness of Yah is above all of that. And as long as you hang on to the truth, there's nothing he can do to stop you from going forward in the kingdom. Nothing. Stay with the Most High Yah. Stay with the kingdom. Don't leave the kingdom. Stay with the truth. Buy the truth. Sell it not. Praise the Most High Yah. So his commandment is not far. In other words, here it is right here in black and white. He said the commandment is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. Let's look at this. Deuteronomy 30 from verse 11 down to verse 14. We're going to stop at verse 14 today. For this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is far off, that thou shouldest say, who shall go up to heaven for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither it is beyond the sea, that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. It's Deuteronomy 30, verses 11 to 14, Isha. Deuteronomy 30, verse 11 to 14. Since you missed it, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to use that as an excuse to read it again. Deuteronomy 30, verse 11 to 14. Notice what it says. For this commandment, which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither it is far off. It is not in heaven that thou shouldest say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither it is beyond the sea, that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. You know, it's very plain, isn't it? Fear Yah and keep his commandments. The word is very plain. He didn't say you need to be a member of some church. He didn't say you need to be baptized into some denomination. He didn't say that. No, it's very plain. Keep my commandments. And we understand that we as weak human beings have problems keeping his commandments because our fathers sinned against him, and we have inherited our father's tendencies to sin, have we not? We've inherited our father's tendencies to sin. Okay? You know, my family, if y'all ever seen the Boondocks and you ever see Uncle Ruckus's family, like Mr. and them, that's my family. I laughed so hard when I saw that because I was like, man, what'd they do? Just copy my whole family and put them in there? Because that's what they did. That's my family right there. One side of my family is aristocratic Jamaicans, you know, with their nose up in the air. Like they don't even call themselves black, they Jamaican, you know. And then the other side is Mr. and Uncle Ruckus's family and them. But I mean, so I inherited both sides of that mess. And you know what? I'll be praying for the forgiveness of my sins and the sins of my fathers, because I know they're many. And let me tell you, we have inherited our parents' tendencies to sin. We've inherited that. And the Most High, he handles that. He handles it with righteousness by faith. He handles it with his spirit of righteousness, the justification by faith message. He handles it through the Messiah, Hawashai. He handles it so that we can overcome that and we can do our plain duty. But this scripture right here that was quoted here from 11 down to 14, that's what was the Messiah was alluding to. Notice this, because you remember now, Messiah is called what? The Word made flesh. And Moses said right here, but the Word is very nigh thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. He said the Word is very nigh thee. And Messiah said he is what? The Word made flesh. Notice what he said to Nicodemus. Gospel of John, chapter 3, from verse 9 down to verse 13. Notice what it says. Gospel of John, chapter 3, from verse 9 down to verse 13. Notice what it said. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be? Yahushua answered and said unto him, art thou a master or a teacher of Israel, and knowest not these things? Verily I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you heavenly things? Watch verse 13. And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. So he's telling Nicodemus, I came down from heaven. Who shall go up to heaven for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? The Word is very nigh thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart. Here was the Word standing right in front of Nicodemus. Here was the Word talking to him. Here's the Word made flesh talking to him. And he said, the Word came down from heaven. No man has had to send up and go get it. I came down to show it to you. Praise the Most High. He said, you're a teacher in Israel. You don't even know these things, man. How you teaching? Praise the Most High. So he's showing us. Messiah quotes and teaches from the word of the law. Praise the Most High. He said, it's not ascended. No man ascended into heaven, but he that came down, the Son of Man, the Word made flesh. The Word is very nigh thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. The Word is made plain, and we praise the Most High. He makes the word simple, man, so that even a child can understand. It's only man that makes it complicated, because man want to glorify himself as a God, just as Satan taught us. But Yahushua taught us to glorify our Father, and it's simple. Very simple. Yeah, you're going to be by yourself. And yeah, some of us going to die. But don't worry. All of them going to die. Praise the Most High Yah while we live forever. Let's have